Male friendship has an unwritten constitution. Rule number 1, you watch your buddy's back in a fight. Rule number 2, if he moves, you haul the couch, even if you throw out your back doing it. But there is a golden rule that ranks above them all. It's written in bold red letters in every guy's head. You never touch his sister. It's not about ownership, it's about survival. My name is Liam. 6 months ago, I lost my best friend, Jake, a guy I've known since 2nd grade. I didn't lose him over money, business, or some stupid drunken brawl. I lost him because I fell in love with Sarah. And the worst part? Jake warned me. He told me one thing that haunted me for months. Liam, when you break her heart, I won't be able to be your friend. Blood is thicker than water. Don't make me choose sides because you will lose. I thought I could control it. I was wrong. Here's how it went down. To understand the situation, you need to know 2 things. First, Jake and I own a small construction firm in the Chicago suburbs. We spend 10 hours a day together, renovating houses. We know everything about each other. Second, Jake knows my history. He saw me at 20, he saw me at 25. He used to call me the Harry Houdini of relationships. Why? Because I was a master of the disappearing act. I'd date a girl for 3 weeks, things would get too serious, and poof, I'd vanish. Jake was the one pulling me out of those messes, listening to my excuses and seeing those girls cry. He knew I was unreliable. Sarah was a different story. Jake's little sister. To me, she was always just the kid with braces who stole our video games. Then she went off to college in New York, and we didn't see each other for years. But last fall, she moved back, post-divorce, rough patch. She looked tired, but damn, she had grown up. She bought an old Victorian fixer-upper that needed a gut renovation, and naturally, Jake volunteered our help. Jake had to go on a business trip for 2 weeks to close a contract in Milwaukee. He tossed me the keys to her place and said, "Look, just help her with the drywall in the living room. And Liam, no funny business." I laughed. "Dude, it's Sarah. Relax." I really meant it. The first few days were strictly business. Dust, power tools, pizza takeout. But then, something shifted. One night we were sitting on the floor covered in sawdust, eating Chinese food out of the cartons. She opened up about her divorce. She wasn't complaining, just stating facts. "You know," she said, twirling her fork, "the worst part isn't that he left. The worst part is the feeling that I wasted 5 years on an illusion." I looked at her and, for the first time, didn't see my friend's sister, but a woman who understood pain. I know that feeling, except usually I'm the one creating the illusion and then running away. She laughed. It was a genuine, raspy laugh. "Yeah," Jake told me. "Liam the ghost." We talked until 3 a.m. about everything. About my fear of commitment, about her fear of starting over. It wasn't a spark. It felt like finally finding a radio station with 0 static, just a clear signal. Over the next 2 weeks, we crossed the line. It didn't happen all at once. First, casual touches, glances that lingered a little too long. I knew I had to stop. I could hear Jake's voice in my head, but I was drawn to her like a magnet. When we first kissed, it was in the kitchen, surrounded by paint cans, and in that second, I felt 2 things: incredible happiness and cold dread. We decided to keep it quiet. "Just for now," Sarah said. "Jake won't understand." I agreed, but deep down I knew it was a lie. I was lying to my brother. Jake came back, and the hell began. I'd go to his place for a barbecue, look him in the eye, crack jokes, drink his beer, and then secretly drive to Sarah's at night. I felt dirty, but every time I saw Sarah, I realized I couldn't stop. This was real. For the first time in my life, I didn't want to run. But secrets have an expiration date. It happened a month later. We were at Sarah's. I thought Jake was at a football game. We were standing on the porch. I was holding her, and we were just standing there. It was an intimate moment, not sexual, just tender. I was stroking her hair. Suddenly, headlights blinded us. Jake's pickup. He got out of the truck slowly, too slowly. He didn't scream, he just walked up to us. I stepped away from Sarah instinctively, which made it look even worse, like I was guilty. "Jake, let me explain," I started. He held up a hand, stopping me cold. His face was stone. He looked at his sister. "Sarah, go inside." "No, I'm not a child," she snapped. "We're adults." "Go. Inside." His voice was quiet, but there was so much steel in it that she listened. When the door clicked shut, he turned to me. I expected a punch to the jaw, but he just looked at me with a mix of disappointment and pain. "Remember Stacy?" he asked. "What?" "Stacy Miller, 3 years ago. You said she was special, and a month later you dumped her via text because she got too attached. Jake, this is different." "No, Liam, it is not different." He raised his voice for the first time. "You are who you are. You don't know how to build, you only know how to demo. You'll play house for a bit, get bored or scared, and you'll bail. But this time, when you bail, you're leaving behind a broken woman, and that woman is going to be my sister." I tried to object, to say I loved her, but he cut me off. And that's when he laid out his main reason, the thing that killed me. "It's not even about you being a player, Liam. It's about me." He took a step closer, poking a finger into my chest. "If you guys are together and you hurt her, and you will hurt her, I'll be forced to destroy you. Do you understand? She's my sister. I saw her crying after the divorce. I won't let anyone do that to her again." He paused, his eyes flashing. "If you break her heart, I have to take her side. I'll have to hate you. You're putting me in a position where I lose my best friend no matter what happens. You're selfish, Liam. You stole that piece from me." "I love her, Jake," I said quietly. He shook his head, got back in his truck, and dropped one last line. "Then prove it. But for now, don't call me. We don't work together, we don't hang out. You made your choice." He drove off. The next day, I picked up my tools from the office. We didn't speak. The next 6 months were weird. On one hand, I was the happiest guy alive because I was with Sarah. We learned to live together, to build a life. I didn't run. When things got tough, I stayed. When the routine set in, I didn't vanish. I changed because I wanted to be worthy of her. On the other hand, there was a void. I missed my friend. There was no one to send a stupid meme to, no one to watch the Bears game on Sunday. Sarah saw Jake at family holidays, but I didn't go. I waited in the car or stayed home. Sarah would say, "He asked about you." Not directly, but he asked. I knew I had to earn the right back. Words are cheap to guys like Jake. Only time matters. He had to see that I wasn't the ghost, that I wasn't going anywhere. Last Tuesday, exactly half a year after that scene on the porch, my phone buzzed. It was Jake. The text was short. "Going for pike on Lake Geneva this Saturday. Got a spot in the boat. Be ready at 5 a.m. No apology, no emojis. But I knew what it meant. At 5 a.m., I was standing by his garage. We shook hands silently, loaded the boat silently. For the first 2 hours on the water, we only talked about bait and the weather. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. But when the sun came up and we cracked open the coffee thermoses, Jake finally spoke. He was staring at his bobber. "Sarah says you fixed her roof." "Yeah," I answered. "Had some leaks near the chimney." "She looks happy, Liam. Happier than I've seen her in years." He turned to me. The rage was gone from his eyes, replaced by fatigue and respect. "You know why I went so crazy back then?" he asked. "Because you knew what an idiot I am?" I tried to joke. "Because I was afraid I'd lose you both," he said seriously. I thought you'd play around and run, and I'd be left cleaning up the wreckage. I didn't want to choose between a sister and a brother." He sighed and took a sip of coffee. "But you didn't run. You're still here. You proved me wrong. I'm not going anywhere, Jake. She's the one." "I see that." He smiled faintly and handed me a can of worms. "But remember, if you do screw this up, I own a shovel and I know places in these woods where no one will ever look." We laughed, and in that laugh, I felt my friend come back. We didn't go back to how things were before. Everything had changed. Now I'm not just his friend, I'm family. And honestly, it was worth it. This story isn't about how I chose a girl over a friend. It's about how I grew up enough to keep them both.